Hey all. Um, so I had this interest in biofeedback since I was like a little kid and found out what it was all about. Um, so over the years, I've collected biofeedback machines. I actually had a massive like studios worth of equipment, but my one of my ex girlfriends decided to hold on to most of my worldly possessions, and so I don't have hardly anything anymore. Only some things that I took when I moved out temporarily. Anyway, I'm so sick of prefacing or following up shit with that. But anyway, this is essentially a rudimentary EEG type device that when your brain waves have entered into the alpha frequency range, which is believed to be, the more calm, mellow state of mind frequency. Um, this buzzer goes off and the light lights up. Um, Comes with these electrodes. The two discs go on your forehead, and this goes in your back of your head. That's like that. It's not yeah, I know it looks menacing, but that's just because it's in the it's supposed to be touching the back of your head where your hair is, and this is so that it passes through your hair and makes a better connection. Um, and this is hardwired into the back of this, which is kind of one of the things this video is going to be for. But I figured somebody out there might have the same interest as I, and we would like to take a look inside of this gadget, because I'm going to put a jack there. So just because I hate hardwired stuff like that, um, just his recipe for disaster. And I also would like to use these electrodes headband here to on some other devices with some other devices. So this button here, when you press it, uh, it makes the sound that it will make when you're uh, in the alpha state, when your brainwaves are in that state. Um, so it's a test button essentially. But yeah, I'm gonna open this gadget up and we'll take a look at what's going on inside. Alright, so I took the top off. I did not realize I left batteries in here. I actually put in, I think when I can't remember. I think when I got this, because I've had it for a very long time, I put in new battery snaps. I can't remember if one or more was just messed up, or if I just want. It would have to be messed up because I'm not the kind of person just to change it to upgrade that kind of thing. I think I would rather keep it as is. But yeah, and you get to these batteries by this plate on the back when it's closed the way it should be. So yeah, so there's the button, the test button. Here's the the hardwired. It's just a little slot hole roughly drilled in there. It's really a shame that they didn't put this a little further in so that it was a hole instead of this, because like I don't really want to put the jack here because I'm not sure if it'll actually work, because if the top goes flush with this, it might not the jack itself might stick out a little bit, I guess I'll experiment and see what I can do. You know, rather than draw another hole to wire this cable to that jack. So here's the circuit. Maybe I'll take this knob off and show you. You know, there obviously, as you can see, there's not a ton to it. There is, see if I can get a shot. Looks like there's an op amp, and then there's a few transistors. It's probably a dual op amp. I've seen, I have books on biofeedback, obviously. And there's a circuit in one of those that I've seen. It's by this guy, Mitchell Waite, I think is his name. He's written a handful of books on electronics. I have this great one. What is it called? It's on microprocessors. I love it. It's just such a nice, easy book with like very 70s, has cartoon pictures in it to help demonstrate things, and just groovy old pictures of early microprocessor devices. But anyway, the point I'm trying to get to is that one of those books has, well, no, you know what, he didn't do. Anyway, none of this matters. I was just gonna say there's a circuit that I saw in one of those books that later on I saw in, like, you know, hobby electronic magazines, and it seems like one of those circuits that, like, everyone's like, oh, okay, I'll use that dude's circuit to make a bunch of, you know, make this and make that, and then sell it as a product. Patents pending. I love that. I have a handful of old pieces of electronics, and it's always, I don't know, interesting and entertaining to me to see something where it says the patent pending, you know, because it means they put it out and sent the, you know, schematic and whatnot to the patent office and are waiting to see if they're going to get a patent for it. I guess that's so people won't use it, which I guess means that this likely is its own circuit. Not that these, you know, these circuits tend to be just amplifier circuits that are like the kind of amplifier circuit that you use for audio, but with a particular kind of sensitivity, and then more complex filtering going on to kind of extract a strong signal. Once the frequencies get to a certain range, they pass through the filter and give you feedback via audio or visual feedback. And that's kind of, and then it's supposed to help you. Well, I won't get into what biofeedback is. I'm going to do a separate video on that at some point. I've been saying that forever, but I will. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna bust out my Allen wrenches, take this knob off, and then we'll take a better look at the circuit board. Alright, so here's the circuit board. Looks like we have a LM1 4 5, what is that, 8, 6? I can't remember the 6. 8, 6? I can't remember what the I'm looking at it upside down. Yes, it's the 8. I can't remember the numbers of that op amp. I just guess I don't use it that often. And then this looks like another, I don't know what this is. This may, I don't, you know what, I think this is, a pair of matched transistors. Because if it's the circuit or the circuit I'm thinking of, or, you know, close to that circuit, the input uses this set of transistors that are connected together, and they would need to be matched to work the way they are supposed to. Yeah, and it looks like, so the electrodes, there's the wire, there's red and yellow, and then the ground, which is like the that funky electrode that with the spiky things that goes in the back of your head. So, you know, if I get a stereo 3.5 millimeter jack and plug, you know, I don't know if I have a you know, a stereo plug, a TSR plug that, I mean, I'm sure I have one attached to some old cable, but I want to, you know, put on a new, you know, solder lug type. Sorry. You know, there's some things that when you start having to explain it or say it in words, you're like, wait, how do I... It's like in my head I know exactly what things are, but like I don't always know the correct terminology for the rest of the universe. You know, I have my own way of thinking, and so, and here's the bottom of the board for anyone that's curious. Single-sided PCB, big ass capacitors. I'm not gonna, I mean, I'm tempted to swap out the caps, but I don't know. I tried it not that many years ago and it worked fine. But, and I, you know, I don't have axial caps like that. I mean, I could put radial caps, but, you know, that's, I don't know. That's always like offends my something, you know, because I want them to be, I want them to have stability when they're on the board like that. And so here's, what was that transistor? QN5172. Not sure what that is. Well, it's a bipolar transistor, because I can see, I love when transistors, I guess I don't think they do it anymore on any transistors, but some of them used to have the pin out, as you can see, ECB, the pin out on the actual transistor, which is kind of groovy. But yeah, so I guess now I'm going to have to take this the button out. I also took it out for two reasons, just because it made it easier to get to this without putting strain on this, but also because I noticed the one lug of this push button was really loose, and I was like, oh shit, I'm like, is this actually working? But it must be internally wired, as in like a little piece of wire, because it still works fine, and no matter how I moved this lug, with it being as loose as it was, it still made contact. I was, using my continuity meter, or my meter on continuity setting. Yeah, so now I'm going to see what to do about adding a jack, and see if I can put a jack there and have it be okay. Because if it sticks out, I guess I could drill it out a bit more. Also, not sure if I have any washers for those size jacks in stock. I'm actually waiting on a bunch in a parts order. Yeah. Oh, do I have it? Oh. Have it on that wide angle fisheye kind of thing. Guess that's why I was having so much trouble. Sorry, people. It's like what's that, National Semiconductor op amp. Yeah, let me see what this. See, 2N 3958. Have to look that up. I wonder if I can do that while I'm on my phone. Am I that tech savvy? Okay, apparently I can't. Or at least I don't know how to search something while filming, or my phone doesn't want me to do that. I'm not sure which one it is. But anyway, I looked up this, and it's exactly what I thought. It's a tightly matched set of JFETs used for like a differential amplifier kind of configuration. Yeah. And I love how it says transistor batteries. That, I believe, usually means alkaline batteries versus zinc batteries. And I assume the reasoning is that the zinc batteries like this you get from the dollar store often, because you'll see the alkaline batteries will be red and they'll say alkaline, and these say super heavy duty and they're blue, and that means that they're zinc, and that they're these are usually, or were, I haven't really measured one in a while, but they would be like 10 or 11 volts, like unloaded. And it's weird because I've seen that on a lot of old pieces of equipment saying, they'll say like use alkaline batteries only. But the weird thing is, it's often used on circuits that are, an op amp is extremely tolerant to a couple volts like that. I mean, you can power a lot of op amps like up to like 30 volts and they're fine. Now, the more, if it's something with like a timer or something that is like a timer circuit that, more voltages will throw off the frequency or something. But I mean, you'd have to have a voltage regulator for something like that anyway, because just a 9-volt battery, as soon as it like starts to die even a little bit, or starts to, just drop in voltage, that would change. So, it just doesn't my point is, it just never seems to be something that is going to be a circuit that has something that's going to be damaged by a couple extra volts. But who knows? Back in the day, maybe, I don't know. Maybe things were different in some way, as far as the batteries or something. I like it says transistor batteries. I assume that means alkaline batteries. I suppose it could mean, this kind of 9-volt battery. I'm not sure, it's like things like that change where, like, when this was made and put out, the term transistor battery might have been a, commonly understood, term or title, or whatever we're going to say it, and people just knew, and now it's been lost to, time. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do about putting a jack, whether I'm gonna fit it in there. I just don't want it to stick out and then have, like, the metal plate like bowed right there, because that'll just, annoy me. Right or wrong. I suppose I could try to drill this out a little more, and then it would fit without sticking out. But then, speaking of which, now I need to, I'm not sure if I have a washer for that size jack around. I have a bunch on order, but I'm thinking I may not have any right now. But whatever, not that important. Look how roughly drilled out this hole is for that push button. And speaking of which, this the hole for this pot, hold on, is so much bigger than it needs to be. Like, you really, I'm gonna have to, like, and it's pretty off too, but that's okay. Maybe I'm gonna have to get that knobs kind of centered within that dial, which I'm used to because of building pedals, and I actually always draw out the holes a little bigger, and I won't go into why. It's just complicated to explain, and it's so uninteresting. It's just me wanting things to look nice. But yeah. Alright, yeah, let me figure out what I'm gonna do about this, and I'll be back.